From the mid-90s to the mid-2000s, flip phones were some of the coolest tech you could buy. It was an era where the thrill of flipping open that device to answer a call and then snapping it closed made all your friends envy you. Using the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 reminds me of that time. It's a device that's bound to get those 90s and 2000s kids excited while also offering something new and unique here in the modern day. I was in Seoul, Korea for the launch of Samsung's latest devices, including the Galaxy Z Flip 5, and you could just tell from the marketing videos that the company wants you to see this device as a cool lifestyle accessory. The question is it worth your attention? I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick one up for yourself with an exclusive discount. But for now, let's talk about the Galaxy Z Flip 5, starting with this new cover display. The larger 3.4-inch external display, which Samsung calls the Flex window, is the most immediately noticeable change on the device. It's a larger 3.4-inch display. Previously limited to a narrow 1.9 inches, this expanded panel enables so much more functionality. You can now view entire notifications without excessive scrolling. Widgets like calendar and weather display far more information at a glance. Controls from music playback and timers are larger and easier to activate one-handed. Samsung worked around the offset camera module with an asymmetric design, so the cover display has a notch taken out of the corner. It may seem odd, but it provides a dramatic size increase while retaining the use of the rear cameras up front. The strange aspect ratio might take some getting used to, but it doesn't detract from usability. Multi-widget mode, accessed by pinching outwards, is a huge upgrade. Instead of swiping through widgets linearly, you can jump directly to the one you want. This saves endless swiping when you just want to briefly glance at a specific widget. The quick settings menu gains handy additions like taking screenshots and summoning notifications. Full app experiences like YouTube, Maps, and Messages are available by default, but you can get just about any app to run here courtesy of Good Lock if it's not natively supported. You can download the Good Lock app from the Samsung Galaxy Store. Compared to the Moto Razr, which runs full Android on the external display, the argument for Samsung's curated approach is that it prevents jankiness and unintended issues. The extra real estate makes a big difference for at-a-glance info and controlling music or videos, but the killer feature is using it as a viewfinder. Framing shots on the Z Flip 4's super narrow screen was nearly impossible. Now you can actually see your entire composition before taking the photo. Switching lenses and modes is also far easier here. For on-the-go use, the cover display is a delight. The increased functionality makes the Flip 5 much more viable as a standalone secondary display for quick tasks compared to earlier models, and it strikes a good balance between the added utility and retaining the internal screen as your primary workspace. Up next, let's talk about the cameras. Right up front, let me say that if you've used the Flip 4's cameras, then you know what to expect here. That's because the Flip 5's camera hardware remains largely unchanged, with 12 megapixel main and ultra-wide sensors on back, plus a 10 megapixel selfie camera inside. The primary lens gets a new coating for improved detail and low light performance. Meanwhile, the upgraded selfie camera with a brighter f2.2 aperture should deliver sharper and clearer self-portraits. But again, the biggest improvement here goes back to the cover display serving as a viewfinder, which I just talked about. You can switch modes, lenses, and adjust zoom without squinting or guesswork. Mobile content creators will love this flexibility, but that's a software feature rather than a hardware one. Another software feature I'm a big fan of is Flex Mode, which recognizes when the display is partially folded, automatically splitting it into two separate usable areas. For example, when you're in the camera app, the top becomes the viewfinder while the controls are available at the bottom of the screen. In the YouTube app, video plays up top while you get the controls on the bottom. The new navigational pane adds even more shortcuts for easy one-handed use. Toggle notifications, screenshots, a trackpad cursor. It turns the compact folded state into a mini workstation. Another big change to the Galaxy Z Flip is the redesigned Flex hinge. Unlike the noticeably gapped hinge on the Flip 4, this new dual rail design allows the Flip 5 to close completely flush with no gap. It just looks so much better and feels way more elegant. Samsung says the hinge diffuses impact force better for improved durability. The Z Flip 5 certainly feels more rigid and solid at various angles when compared to earlier models, which I like to see. Long-term testing will reveal if the new Hinge brings that improved resilience, but that seamless closure alone with no gap is great to see. One thing that hasn't changed is the visibility of the center crease on the internal display. It remains as apparent as ever when the screen is illuminated, but as a purely cosmetic concern that doesn't affect usability, I'm not bothered by it personally. Moving on to the other specs, just to be thorough, the Galaxy Z Flip 5 receives the expected bump up to a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor. Combined with 8 GB of RAM, performance so far feels nice and snappy. I have no complaints in that area. The base storage doubles from 128 gigs to 256, which is a welcome increase for the same $999 price point. But use that link in the description and you'll get a free upgrade to 512 gigs when you pre-order. The 3700 mAh battery and 25-watt charging rate remain unchanged, which is disappointing. I would have loved to have seen both an improvement in the battery size along with a higher charging rate, as the Flip 4 struggled to last a full day. Here's hoping that optimizations can improve longevity. You still get IPX8 water resistance, but no dust resistance, along with Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the exterior, and an appealing selection of color options, including graphite, cream, lavender, and this new mint color, along with a few Samsung Store exclusive colors. Now, with thoughtful enhancements like the larger flex window, refined hinge, boosted storage, and clever multitasking upgrades, Samsung has iterated on the Flip formula while retaining what users love. The massively improved external display, paired with an even more convenient flex mode, makes this feel like a whole new experience compared to the previous Flip 4. And that's even if there are pretty minimal hardware changes year over year here. If you want a more pocketable and playful take on foldables compared to the Z Fold 5, the Z Flip 5 is an easy recommendation. For on-the-go use and one-handed operation in the foldable market, this can't be beat. Thanks for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Edwards, and I'll catch you in the next video.